I want to welcome everyone to another installment of Her Story, and I am sitting here with the legendary Helle Trevino. How are you this evening, Helle?
Hey, how are you, Danielle? I'm good over here.
Good, good. It's been a while since we've actually seen each other face to face. Last time was actually at the Olympia.
Yep, it was.
And
Hmm.
I want to say on record that it was such an honor. And it was just, to me, a blessing to be able to not only learn from you for my first showing and debut, but to actually be able to compete and go after you and see you in action, especially after what you had to overcome last year. It was very inspiring to me. And I've said this to you before, but I really meant it when I first met you back in 2016. It was like end of 2016. Yeah. And matter of fact, you were in the car. I picked you up from the airport one of the many times you were in town because this is when you were living here. And I remember telling you after you shared a bit about yourself and the competing and what it took.
It's not easy to um, be a female bodybuilder and, get to there. Like, there's different things like just getting there with the level of muscularity that it requires and getting to the conditioning that it requires. It's a lot of hard work, sacrifice, discipline, but also just having the courage to go against, society's norms of like how a woman should look like.
And you even shared how you have been through some challenges and some not so favorable showings yourself.
That's important, like all us women in the sport, we're in the same boat. We have pretty much the same life around the sport, and also, many of the same things to struggle with. I mean, with the upbringing, I can recognize that. I don't think most parents to women that want to be women's bodybuilders are like, yay, let's do it, because it's so different, and it's so like just out of the norm. And most parents, I mean, my parents wanted me to be a lawyer, and that was just set in stone. It was like I didn't even have any say so until I got older, and I was like, I want to do bodybuilding, and they were straight up like, we're not coming to your show, like we don't support that. It wasn't until like much later that my mom actually jumped on board and supported me, but it wasn't before she could see like, okay, she's a pro, she's doing well, she's doing something with the sport,
Right.
gone coaching, and I was actually able to make money with the sport. And that's when she was seeing, okay, she is making something out of her life.
You made
But
her a believer, and then she was on board. Yeah. See the money. Okay, my child's doing something. Okay.
exactly, but um I mean, not a lot of people understand why women want to build this degree of muscularity. So I feel like us women, we share the same passion, and we struggle with the same things and go through many of the same emotions and mental challenges through the prep, that I think it's really important that we support another. And, being able to encourage you or someone else, and just give them some words of wisdom. I feel like, I've been in the sport for a long time, and I have, gathered my portion of experience. And, I want to just pass that on. And, we should all like strive to uplift each other. And sometimes, we need a kick in the ass, and sometimes we just need somebody to just pick us up and say, hey, it's like everything's gonna be all right. Like not every show is the same, and we all come to win, or at least have a goal of like, top 10 or top 5 or whatever it is. But you know those expectations aren't always met. It's a journey, and there's ups and downs, and it's all about how you handle your journey and how you can keep going. It's about just staying positive and just keep believing and just keep working for your goals. Like, nobody's journey was just like, it's a little bumpy sometimes, and that's okay. That's how we learn.
Right. And I think connecting with others, whether you're reaching or you're teaching, that is also a way in which you can too grow and evolve on this journey yourself. And I'm sure you've probably had some moments where now that you are a coach, that you've learned and taken some things that you probably wouldn't have had you not been coaching,
Yeah.
assisting someone.
The truth is we just all learn from each other. Like every time there's some kind of human interaction, if you're open to learn and you're open to, see what is this about, how can I do better, and that doesn't differ if I'm the athlete or I'm the coach. Like, I always strive to do better, and I learn from my athletes all the time.
What do you think is one of the biggest takeaways that you have gotten from any particular client, whether it is a competitor or non-competitor?
I don't think there's been any one in particular. I would say where I really gain the most is like when somebody tells me that I've impacted their life in a positive way. Just in general, like motivating people and inspiring them and just having an impact on somebody else's life is really huge for me.
That's, to me, what life is about, right? Take being a competitor or a coach, it's about serving others. I've said this before. Sometimes I sound like a broken record about it, but that is what our life's purpose is, to make impact, serve, and give to others. And that is how we can continue to move forward ourselves and to receive more. It's like that cliche saying, the more you give, the more you receive, but it is so true. The more you are giving to others, planting seeds, empowering them and uplifting them, that too can do the same for you in your life.
I totally agree. It's energy, everything is energy. And like, I truly believe in like the energy you give out, you receive back. And I feel like the more I give, the more I receive back.
Right. And that's important. The key thing is your energy, because if you're putting good out, you're going to get good back, and so on and so forth.
The more you are inspired to give out more positive energy, everything is like is a chain reaction. And the same also with negative energy. Like if you get stuck in negative energy, you will attract more negative energy and you will get stuck in this. So I mean, I'm also like a big believer in—
Sounds like you practice a lot of personal development with the law of attraction, mindset, and energy output. So what would you say to someone who is trying to manifest and bring forth to fruition a goal or a dream? What kind of steps do you think that they should take, or what advice would you give, say, a client about those?
First of all, they got to be clear about their goal. Like sometimes I feel like people are like a little wishy-washy about what they really want. Like you got to really know exactly what you want. And I recommend writing it down, preferably in a place you see it often. I've practiced this myself where I would like put a note on my fridge. Like say when I won the Rising Phoenix in 19, I put on my fridge like that I wanted to become the world champion, and not just that I wanted it, also why I wanted it. Because, and this doesn't matter what it is. It can be like you want to start a business, and at some point there's always going to be hardship. You're going to have doubts on your diet. Can I really do this? Am I where I need to be at? If you have a business, oh, like everything is red numbers. Can I really turn this around? Is this going to be successful? Then you can turn to your why. Why did I want to start this business? Why did I want to win this show? And it's important to remind yourself what you're struggling for. And that belief, that faith, it's as soon as that fades that you're gonna start like giving up and becoming more doubtful, and maybe like eating something you shouldn't have, or doing something with your business you shouldn't have. So it's important to stay in this positive mindset, and this mindset of like belief and faith in the project.
That why I feel like that made a difference in some results that
Yep.
the last couple of years. And that's something that I don't think that too many people talk about. They always say, what, gurus or coaches, put out their advice on manifesting, or, setting your intentions. They sometimes forget that to remind people to put the why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important to know your why, and it's important to stay positive around it. Positive thinking around your goal and your why.
You are very clear about your why and where you're going in bodybuilding, but right now you've kind of been coasting a little bit and relaxing. So let's talk a little bit about what life has been like for you since the Olympia.
Well, I won't say relaxing.
I mean, I've seen you all over, girl, but your version of relaxing, jet setting.
I am training. I am training very hard. I'm taking a year off from competing. Won't be on stage this year. I had a huge setback last year in terms of like my shoulder surgery, and my goals have changed in terms of like, last year, I mean, should I have competed? Should I not have competed? For myself, I felt like, right away when I had the shoulder injury, and I needed clearly like a big surgery, your first thoughts are, is this a career ending injury? I felt very depressed in the beginning, and I couldn't see how I would be able to compete. But I'm also able to turn around my mindset. Maybe I wasn't going to be 100%. I didn't know. I mean, half the year I couldn't train. I started training again in June. And, by then I didn't have my full mobility back. I was still working with the experts. I was still in mobility training. And I had to regain my size. I had to get shredded for December. So it was a huge challenge, but it was also interesting because, to be honest, I like to be under pressure. Like, it's, I guess when you're an athlete and you compete at the highest level, like you work well under pressure. And I like the pressure, and I felt like, I can do this challenge. I feel like I need to do it for myself, for my own mental health, to show myself that I'm not done yet. I'm not gonna go out that way. If I want to retire, it's because I want to retire. It's because I call the shot, not because, oh, I had to retire because of an injury. I felt proud that I had gone through so much that year. I had traveled from Mexico, where I did the surgery and rehab, to Dubai, where I did my continuous training, and where I felt like I could kind of go into like a bubble and just prepare and not have any distractions. And it worked out well. And but that was last year's goal. So now it's like, okay, it was probably my smallest Olympia appearance that I've had. I was not able to regain all the size back in the short time, but now it's time for improvements. So my goal is this year, that's why I'm taking the year off, that I'm not only going to regain the size back, I'm going to come in with improvements, making the necessary improvements to, of course, win the Olympia, which is my goal.
You're taking the time. And that leads me to one of my questions. How important do you feel it is as athletes to sometimes just take a break? I know you're still training, but you are competing, and that's a big difference. Your body's getting that break.
Yeah. It's a huge difference, because you don't, I mean, when you're in prep, you're in a calorie deficit, it's, you're stressing the body. Like, this sport is like unlike any other sport, because any other sport, you eat to perform. This sport is like, you perform, but you don't eat. I mean, you eat, but you don't get like the big bowl of pasta before you're gonna work out, or the energy drinks and the gel packs. And in other endurance sports, like they fill themselves with carbs to really perform. And in our sports is like, we go super low carb and we still have to perform. That is physiological stress. That is stress for your immune system, is stress for your nervous system. This year, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to rest. Now I'm going to give my body a break, which, like I said, I haven't had in like 12 years or something. So it's just needed. I mean, that I tear 2 tendon at once, that's probably also a warning sign, that the body says, I'm worn, I haven't had a break.
Now, I kind of want to play devil's advocate, just a little bit. Had you not had that injury, do you think you would have taken this break? Do you think you would have slowed down and taken an improvement season?
Probably not.
Probably not. Now, I asked this question, what does it mean to you? Because you answering the question like that, you probably wouldn't. To me, taking a break in your mind as a competitor, if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, is that you might be losing some ground or time on for yourself. I'm talking about for personal, for you. It has nothing to do with anyone else.
Well, I'm also like, the past many years, I placed in the top consecutively. I've been first, second, third.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to suddenly sit one out when you feel like it's right here. Maybe if I would say like 12th place or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I'll take a year out to improve. But when you're at the top and you can kind of feel like, oh, it's like right there. It's hard to just be like, oh, I'll just take a year off. I recommend taking time off, and I take time off every year. I took 2.5 months off this year. So the rest of December, January, February, I didn't train at all. And then I started 1st of March training again. Taking a couple of months off after the show, I think it definitely helped with my longevity, because I've been competing a long time. And I've had minor injuries here and there. I feel like this year was needed. And then, I mean, yeah, who knows if I would or if I wouldn't have taken the year had the injury been. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would. I mean, maybe I wouldn't. It's hard to tell. There's also a life after bodybuilding. Like, all got to remember that. So we gotta really take care of our health.
Yeah, and you are, you're an icon in this sport, both here and in Europe. And you are, as I researched, I did look it up, pretty much the Danish female bodybuilder, you know,
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
make to make a statement and to take it all the way. And what does that mean to you? What significant impact and cultural impact has that had on you and from where you're from?
I mean, I come from a really small country. We only 5 million people. So it's like it's special, that I mean, I'm the only female bodybuilder, men and women, who really made it on the pro stage. It's special to be able to represent my country and being able to do it as well as I have. And I'm really proud and honored that I can put Denmark on the map of female bodybuilding.
Take me back to what 17-year-old Helle was like, because I know, as I did my research, and it's been a passion of yours since you were little, and you were at one point asking your dad, asking your sister, asking people, can I go? And when you finally got that chance, you sign right up. So I want you to just take me back, if you can remember, to that time when you first got your membership.
I remember clearly. There was a powerlifting competition at the gym that day, and I went to watch, and I was just sucked into it. It wasn't like that I was interested in powerlifting or anything. It was just like the vibe, like it was just like the chalk in the air, like people just cheering them on when they were squatting, and everybody was just kind of like passionate about it and just passionate about training, and I was just like, feeling home, even though I've never been in that gym. Fresh, and you didn't know anything and you were just sucking up information everywhere, and you were asking people, and like, oh, I remember there was a competitor coming to our gym. He had some kind of work assignment. It was like my gym was like a small, lazy, small town gym, and there was no competitors. But there was like some big beef guys there, powerlifters and stuff. Um, but then there was this bodybuilding competitor that was coming, and I was just like, it's like circling around to like ask him stuff. And I finally got to talk to him, and he agreed to make a diet for me. And I was like super meticulous. Like it was almost like the raisins, I would cut it with a scissor to get exactly the measure that it said in the program. If one rice corn was too much, I would like pick it out. Like I was so meticulous with everything. It was a great time, also because like everything was new and you were just exploring, like, oh, how to do this, and how do you compete, and how do you get shredded, and how do you get abs, and where do you get your posing suit, and it was like this big new world. It was cool times.
Do you believe that because you came up in bodybuilding at a different time where you really had to seek knowledge and really connect with people more than, say, now someone who's coming up and we have the internet and you don't really go out so much and connect? Maybe you talk to people, but you're not really going and talking. You were actually going out and finding out who people are and talking to them face to face. Do you feel that I guess the formative years really played a part in how successful you've been in this sport?
I had to struggle. I didn't have like rich parents that just say, "Oh, we'll fund your whole sport," or "We will pay a coach," or whatever. There was no coaches back then. And when I went to um, Copenhagen, I had to take care of myself. I was blessed. I would say there was another person that played a significant role in my sport. I was blessed to meet a guy at the gym within the first month. He was disabled and he was training with another female bodybuilder. I got to know also Henrik, which was the man she worked for. So she was basically his caretaker. And, great guy. We often sat talking after the gym and stuff. And at some point he says, "Hey, Helle, why don't you come work for me? I know you're new in town. You don't have a job." And I was like, "Well, if I don't really have any experience in that, I don't know what to do." And he was like, "Oh, no problem. I mean, you know how to train. I just want somebody who can train me. And then the rest I'll just teach you along the way." And I said, "Okay, let's do it." So that actually ended up being like a really long time friendship. And I ended up working for him for 15 years. He showed up for me. He made my sport possible for the 15 years I worked with him. And after that, I decided to move to the States to really focus on my career, be in the right spot. I decided to say goodbye to Henrik, which was like really difficult, and move to the States and do my career. So I've been conditioned to from really young, like where I moved to Copenhagen to pursue my dreams, to then when I turned pro to move to the States and pursue my dreams. So I think early on, I just got conditioned to just really being on my own and pursuing my dreams on my own. And then I found people along the way who was wanting to support me and who wanted to be part of the journey.
That leads me to the question. I think this is an appropriate question right now. What do you believe is the most teachable moment that you have had, both personally or professionally?
The most teachable moment is when you lose. Winning gives you confidence. None of us like to lose.